So let's look at one more example. Here I have some data that was collected from an ECG signal. There's a 12 lead ECG. Here's a couple of the leads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 10. And let's say we just want to plot 1. Or maybe let's do 3. Let's do 3. So I can go ahead and open up a new figure. And if I just go ahead and notice there's 2 rows of data. So if I just plot 3, notice what happens is MATLAB plots like this. So essentially what it treats each row or each column as its own separate y value. So I can go ahead and plot 3 transposed, and we can see my data. So if I transpose 3, it takes the first column and plots it, and the second column and plots it as 2 separate y vectors. So we can see this is what the data looks like. It's an ECG, that's just how MATLAB plotted it. So there's a blue one in the back and an orange one in the front. So there's different characteristics of each one. We can see different pieces, but let's go ahead and separate those. So let me plot the first one. So row 1, all columns. I want to plot that as a black line. Then I'm going to do hold on, and now I can plot my second row as, let's say, a blue line. So we can see here's my figure, and my black line disappeared. So let me go ahead and, nope, they're both blue, that's why. My first one's a black line, there we go, K is black. So there's my black line in the back, and here's my blue line in the front. I'll make that a red line in the front, just so that it pops out a little bit more. So I can see my black line is my unfiltered signal, so I can add a legend. My first one is my unfiltered signal. My second one is my filtered signal. So I'm going to go ahead and add to my plot. Okay? I've plotted my data. I can go ahead and add and annotate. So there's my legend that shows up. I can go ahead and add a title. So title, lead 3 ECG data. Title shows up. I can add an X label. This data is not plotted appropriately. There's no X values. The X values in theory would be time. I can go ahead and calculate what that would be if I have the information and how it was collected, but I don't. But I would say it's time. Typically for ECG data, it's milliseconds. I can add a Y label as well. This would be amplitude, whatever you want to call it. The amplitude is typically millivolts. It's literally tracking, picking up electrical signals from your heart. So there we go. I've added more to my plot, and we can see it looks a little bit more professional. We've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 beats that are detected here. Let's say we want to zoom in on 1 beat. I can go ahead and change the axis. So I want my x-axis to be from 0. Let's go ahead and stop it at about a little bit before 500. So we'll say 450, and then my y-axis to be from -100 to 200. We can go ahead and keep that. So now we can see it's the same data. It still goes on forever, but I've cropped it. So I can see I've only captured 1 beat, and we can zoom in on that data. You can see the unfiltered signals very choppy, very up and down, and the filtered signal kind of smooths out as we go along. So it just depends on how it was filtered. There we go. So I've plotted 1 of them. Let's say I want to go ahead and plot all of them. I can go ahead and make things a little bit more fancy. So here is a script file. You can see it's got lots of lines of code that I've done this for us. So here's what that looks like. I've plotted in my figure 1. I have a subplot with 2 rows, 3 columns. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can see for each one I've plotted the data. I have added my legend, I've added a grid, I've changed my x-axis. This is different than axis, this only changes the x-axis values versus both the x and y, but it works the same. Added a title and my x label and y label. And we can see here's a nice figure that we can go ahead and copy and paste into some document. If you ever want to copy and paste your figures over, you can go ahead and go to edit, say copy figure, and paste it into whatever document you want to paste it into. If you want to save it separately, you can go to File, Save As. You can save it as a MATLAB figure, you can save it as a JPEG, however you want to do it. But we can see this is how we can make our plots nice, professional looking, that we can use in our reports and however we want to communicate to the state.